Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crazy Kitsune Gaming with yet another episode of the Plants vs. Zombies Zombie Campaign walkthrough. Now, before we get into our latest mission, and how we actually get to said missions, we of course have to sort of explain the character that we're going to be playing as today. And that character is Superbrains. See, I kind of consider, it is my humble but objective opinion, that a lot of the zombies are a little bit overpowered. You got Scientist, who's just absolutely cheesy in so many different ways. You've got Imp, who's, he's Imp. And I've got this character, Superbrains. He is honestly the peak to me. Mostly because he has way too much damage. In fact, I think that's how usually you get an overpowered character in any game. If you give them too much damage, it can be a bad recipe, especially in PvP. But let's actually explain why this character is so good. First of all, his primary attack, the Heroic Fist. Yeah, they're completely melee. They have no range whatsoever. Now, if you aim, you actually get a different weapon called the Heroic Beam, which you can actually use from a distance. However, its damage is... if I could actually hit something here. Its damage is quite... yeah, 1 damage. If you get closer, then you can do a bit more, but the damage is incredibly questionable, at least on the beam. The fists are absolutely devastating, but the beam does very low damage, and it overheats, yeah, super quick. Now, as for his abilities, his primary, at least his most used ability, is the Super Ultra Ball. It's also nicknamed Hadouken quite often. It has a pretty quick recharge, and I'm not quite sure how much damage it does. I know that it will quite often just one-shot most pea shooters or most 125 health characters, but I'm pretty sure it actually only does 100 damage, but for some reason it just has quite a tendency to kill whatever it makes contact with. Now, his second most used ability is the Heroic Kick, because of course he's a melee character, we have to give him some crazy movement option. Yeah, this is actually an ability like the Sticky Balls that actually have a charge. You can have up to 2 of these Heroic Kicks up at a time. So it does mean you can quite quickly go from one side of an area to a completely other area. Now let's talk about his not so used ability, the Turbo Twister. Now the Turbo Twister will deal damage to enemies around you, yes, but that is not its primary purpose. The Turbo Twister will actually give you a tiny bit of armor when you're using it. As in, when an enemy shoots you while you're in the Turbo Twister, you don't actually take as much damage, which is a great tool for either getting close to an enemy, or even better, when you're in a bad situation, getting away from an enemy. Because also, the Turbo Twister gives you a slight speed increase, so that is something to keep in mind. Now then, we should actually be getting to our missions. Yeah, this sort of situation, this site. Yeah, if you've watched my plant campaign videos, this probably looks a little bit familiar. So these portals will actually lead us to each of the zombie agents that we need to do missions for. Now, which one is easiest, which one is hardest? Which one should you do first? Well, in my opinion, Pirates missions are actually the easiest. The reason being, they don't actually tend to put you in a whole lot of combat. Any pirate mission where there is combat involved, there's either very little of it, or you can rely on allies to do the combat for you. That is, if there's really a whole lot of combat involved in the first place. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes you're just running around a certain area completing an objective. So I feel like that's who we're going to be starting with. I feel like Superbrains missions are the second hardest, and Imp missions are just the hardest, because they can not only be quite difficult in having you fight a lot, but they can also just be a little difficult in their objectives. It's not only hard to not die, but sometimes you have to keep other things from also not dying, which can be quite painful. So, Pirate Space. Yeah. It's a cool looking little area. He could deal with the shark in the wall, though. And also the cannonballs. Could be dealt with at some point. So then, let's get into Pirate's missions. So, first things first, hitting a snag. Something's wrong with old Deadbeard's pet shark Snaggles. Is anyone here a marine biologist? Avast, ye scurvy scallywag! Snaggles be sick as a slobberin' seashell! He must have chomped on something that didn't agree with his wee belly. See if you can find some help, otherwise who will sing me sea shanties to me before bed? Brains. Alright then. Let's get into this. So yeah, this will be a pretty simple mission that won't actually put us in any extreme amounts of danger. So we need to go off and find some help for Snaggles, and thankfully there is some very nearby. Sadly, some weeds in the way. See, the beam can do some damage, but only when you're very close. Alright. Hello there. Dr. Dolphin. No be disturbing my patient. Brains? It smell like eye-watering stink. Old Deadbeard brains. Old Deadbeard have new shark patient? I know what need. Find strange brew. Magic plant have. You take. Okay. So then, we actually have to go and fight off a champion Rose. Yeah, did I say the combat was going to be very difficult? Yeah, sure, it's a champion. But, like, come on, guys, it's a freaking Rose. There we go. Blam. She's hit. Okay, she did not take the full brunt of that Super Ultra Ball, did she? Otherwise, I feel she would die way quicker. Yep, that's Rose for you. She could barely do more than 50 damage in that entire fight. All that bonus health, all that bonus damage for being a hero. Well, a champion plant. And on hard difficulty, she couldn't dish out more than 50 damage. What took you so long? That took like 2 minutes. Strange brew good. We need for patient. Deadbeard rating. Me race you to help. Race brains. And now he just, yeah, teleports over there. Me faster than you. Well, yeah, it helps you have a literal teleport. Take a look at Snaggles, then. Quick, drink this strange brew. Alright, we shall drink brew. Okay, now we look at Snaggles. Brains. Alright then. So, yeah. Hey there, Snaggles. Let's examine. Please don't eat me. Ta-da! It worked! I mean, of course it worked. We inside Snaggles. But, brains? How else are we supposed to find what wrong? This smells so bad, it almost good. Look, see if we can get to bottom of fishy situation. Alright then, so we are now in Snaggles. Wow, it's such an interesting place in here. Ah, the light. I'll get back to you someday, once I'm finished with the zombie campaign. Alright, so yeah, we got some coins, we got some muck, we have some fish, we got seashells too, we even have shoes and even bigger coins and cans. But what we really want to get down to is here, where we can find out, yeah, the situation. It's weeds. And Toxic Chomper. Which is so fun, because Toxic Chompers can actually deal damage over time. Now, the good thing is, yes, Dolphin will help. And he can actually heal you. It's quite a strong heal. And Dolphin has quite a bit of health in this mission. Other than that, he doesn't actually have too much special about him. Uh-oh. Hold on. I think the game had a baby heart attack. Come on. There you go. I knew you could pull through, game. Ooh, a Toxic Pea. Hey there. Sorry. Hurts to do this to my favorite character, but it's gotta be done. Sorry, Toxic Pea. You are a victim today. Alright. Next wave. Yep, there we go. And there's another Toxic Pea. Sorry, buddy. It's part of the mission. I'm so sorry. Oh, Dolphin, heal me. Oh, no, 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 no. The swamp things, they hurt. Oh, dear. Dolphin, can you, like, go and deal with that? At least I got rid of the port... Wait, no, the Toxic Pea is still alive. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no! No! toxic pain! Dolphin, do something! Dolphin, do something! Dolphin, do something! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you! Dolphin, oh, no, 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 no! No! Ah, thank you. Oh, that was scary. That worked! First patient fix up good! Me should open office. Call it Fixie Fixie Fishies. Brew wearing off. Gonna biggin us and make our exit. Ready? Brains. Oh, okay. One last thing, you landlubber. Snaggles has something to say to you. Ah, what was that I said about the missions being easy? About their combat not being hard? Yeah, just let Dolphin take care of it when you do it yourself. Just let him take care of it. Alright, what do you have to say? He's barfing coins. What an elaborate situation. Thank you, good sir, for such knowledge. Yeah, I feel so much smarter for that. Alright, quest complete. Well, that was, quite a riveting episode. If you want to see more, then consider liking and subscribing, and maybe even sharing with your friends these videos, if they're interested as well. And, yeah, in any case, I will see you next episode. Hopefully it won't be so horrifying. Good day.